Greetings, I am Pillar Nexus, the Ancient Gladiator, today with Pillar Loves Tabletop Games. Today with a bargain find from a local thrift store. Uh, Ticket to Ride Europe. If you've played Ticket to Ride, this will feel familiar. This adds a few more things. If you've not played Ticket to Ride, we'll cover the basics of that. At the start of the game, you'll unfold the map. Each player will have a player color, which will include plastic train cars to mark their routes. This where Ticket to Ride Europe adds in train stations as well. You'll start with 3 of those. You'll have your scoring token to score points for your routes during the game and keep track of uh, whatever final points you're scoring at the end. You'll shuffle the deck of train cards, come in various colors, symbols. You will deal 4 train cards to each player, and then set out a set of train cards to draft. 5. You'll have 5 cards available. You will take the ticket cards and deal them out as follows. There will be high value tickets. They are very long routes. They're what you're trying to achieve over the long term. There will be a set of 6 of these, and you'll deal 1 to each player. You'll then shuffle the remaining tickets and deal 3 to each player. With what you know about your starting hand and your routes, you'll then have to decide a minimum of 2 tickets that you have to take. You want to try to coordinate um, the 2 that you intend to keep so that you can be able to pull both of them off um, using the same routes if possible, as much as you can. Be careful with keeping too many tickets. If you don't score the route at the end of the game, it is a negative. But once everyone's figured out what they're keeping, we'll go to the first player. On your turn, you do the following. One of these following actions is your entire turn, and it goes to the player to the left. You can draw train car cards. There will be the opening set of 5, and then there will also be the deck. I recently sleeved these, so it's kind of hard to keep them all together. But you will draw 2 train cards. You have the option to pull off the top of the deck, sight unseen. Or you take one of the cards from the face-up display at your hand and immediately replace it. And then take your second card. This wild card is a locomotive. You can only take a locomotive if it's your first card face up. It's entirely possible that you draw it sight unseen, in which case you'll be able to take a second card. If you take a locomotive as your first card, you cannot take a second card. Locomotives have a purpose not only as a wild card, but also with a new feature for this edition of Ticket to Ride. There is no hand limit but hoarding cards is probably not the wisest of strategies. All right. Next, you can claim a route. To claim a route, you simply need the appropriate number of cards of a given color. So, let's say we could use these two cards to claim this route here. So we play them, play the trains, and score depending on the number of train cards used. Alternatively, you can use the locomotive to make up for a color card that you don't have. So with those three, we can claim this route. If a route is in gray, you can claim it with any color, but all the cards have to be the same color and or locomotives. One of the additions in this game is called a ferry, so you will need at least one locomotive to claim it. So these three cards would be enough to claim this path here. Cards you use to claim a route will be discarded. You might notice that there are routes between two cities with two tracks. In a game of only 2 to 3 players, only one of the two tracks can be claimed. Once one of the routes is claimed between the two, the other route cannot be claimed. With 4 or 5 players, both routes can be claimed, but only by different players. You are not allowed to claim both routes. After you claim a route, you score the points for it, based on the number of cars. With 1, it's 1 point. 2 is 2 points. 3 is 4 points. 4 is 7 points. 6 is 15 points. There we go. 6. And then 8 is a whopping 21 points. The long routes in the game are worth about as much as pulling off an 8-car run. And those runs tend to be very few, if any. There's an 8-car run up here. And that's it. There's a couple of 6-car runs here and here. If you're at a loss for where you probably want to try to play train cars and you've already fulfilled your destinations, or people are screwing you out of destinations, what you can also do during your turn is draw 3 destination tickets. You must keep one of them, but you may keep all of them. Again, try to make it stuff you can coordinate, and it's not already been um, claimed by another player. If someone has like taken your little direct route, it's always possible to kind of take a roundabout route, but it again you have to hope you don't get um, blocked from that. Any tickets you don't intend to keep will be discarded. There's playing a train station. So let's say I have a ticket that requires connecting here and here. but my opponent has already claimed this route here. The station lets me use one opponent's route as part of that path. If you're claiming multiple tickets using the uh, train station as a destination, or I think even going through it, you'll have to use the same path for all of them. To build a train station, you will need to spend a number of cards of the same color equal to the number of train stations you'll have when you place it. So it's just one card for the first one, then two of the same for the next one, and then three of the same for the one after that. You can use locomotives to substitute any number of cards. This is, again, a special thing for Europe. Now, one of the things I haven't covered yet is claiming a route that goes through a tunnel. And you notice these little kind of special paths here and here. A few of them actually have color to them. In order to claim a tunnel route, first you'll need to have at least the number of cards of the color of that path that you're taking. So for the wild, it's anything. Let's say you needed blue. So you would have to have at least the two blue cards. So let's say you got at least that. You got at least that. And let's say you had extra blue just in case. What you will do is draw the top three cards, and this will tell you if you need any extra cards to claim it. If none of that color comes up, you're good. If it's if another blue card or a locomotive comes up, you're gonna need one more card per one that comes up. If you would need extra cards and you can't do it, you get to take your cards back, and you just miss out on building, I believe. Let me make absolutely sure. This is a game. This is a version of the game that I'm not as familiar with. Yeah, you may take your cards back. It's entirely possible to go through a tunnel using only locomotives, in which case you'll only have to worry about it if another locomotive card shows up in those three cards. The game will end when you are down to you or any other player in the game is down to two or less train cars in stock. Each player, including that player, gets one last turn. So your final scores are based on the points you got for the routes as you played them during the game. Any destinations you successfully complete are worth positive points. Any cards you left incomplete are worth negative points. Any train stations you still have in your stock are worth 4 each. And finally, the European Express. In order to claim this card, you need to have the longest singular path of cards of your color. If there's a tie, each player will get the 10-point bonus. Player with the most points wins. If there's a tie, the player with the most completed destination tickets will win. If it's still tied, the player who used the least number of train stations wins. If there's still a tie, the player with a European Express wins. If people tied for the European Express, there's no tiebreaker after that. But that would be pretty incredible to actually see happen. So yeah, this was a game that I found at a local thrift store, still in the plastic, only $10. I was like, you know what? I've played the previous version of the game. I'm gonna see what this one's about. And I think the additions are interesting. Adding some randomness with the tunnels that you kind of have to be a little bit prepared is curious. Thankfully, a lot of the tunnels are actually pretty short, especially out here. There's like two, 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 two of specific colors, three, four, six, eight. Yeah, it's not. There's another three out here, out over here. It it's not that bad, you know. The ferries are an interesting approach as well because you have to have the locomotives. But in general, it's just a nice family-friendly game of collecting cards and taking routes and making people curse your name because you took those routes that they really needed, and now they're gonna have to go around, or now they're gonna lose points. It's it's just a nice game. Um, I find it kind of interesting. They've included a little geographical note on the back. Uh, they strove to accurately represent the political boundaries of Europe in 1901 and preserve the city's common name in their local language at the time. For gameplay purposes, however, they kind of have to adjust the position of some of the cities on the map because they need the space for the train routes. Yeah, it's just a nice, fairly quick kind of family game to play in the evening and just have a nice time. Yeah. Um, really, just the whole Ticket to Ride series is worth looking into. If you've never played it before, definitely try it out. Right. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Pillar Nexus, and I'll see ya next time.